Good morning. It is 10:04 a.m. on Friday, January 12th, 2007 or 2018. Excuse me. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, obviously this is a late time to be recording for a Friday. I'm not sick or anything. It's just that my work 4-day job requires late hours today. So I'm just going in later and staying later today in order to um, accompany another test. And fingers crossed that this one will go better than the one earlier this week. Although honestly, there's kind of no real reason to believe that it will. I mean, nothing has changed, so we'll see. It's more data. At the very least, it won't be a situation where I was really expecting it to pass and then it fails, and that's frustrating. So I don't have to go in for another couple of hours yet because I'm going to be working into later into the evening. But in the meantime, I got to sleep in a little bit, and that means I also got to stay up last night to watch the Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 1, and that's exciting. Um, they Everyone premiered their new characters last night, and it was interesting again as a GM to kind of think about different styles of beginning a campaign, right? So what they did with this one is that the main the cast of 7 players, apparently they were in 3 groups. We had 2 groups of 2 and a group of 3 that each did their level 1 to level 2 playthroughs together, so that they kind of knew each other before. In this first episode of the campaign, we have the 3 groups all come together as one, all of them at level 2, and I think that's kind of a neat way to do it. It's also Matthew Colville, who does a lot of D&D, like how to run the game videos on YouTube, was talking about the difference between sort of a slow burn beginnings and hot burn beginnings, or fast burn, I guess. Um, because, like, to be sure, in this one, they each had their own little mini adventure to get to level 2 before the this episode started. But this episode, I mean, the first 75% of it is really just them kind of getting to know each other, and there's no outside conflict being driven. It's really just them figuring out each other, and I think that's probably a good idea with so many of them, to let them each all get a sense of each other before you start throwing them into a more problematic situation. But the other way can work too. Like, you could start with just like, one way would be that if we've just agreed with all the players that you're making a character who's not going to just run away from a fight, then you could start by having all of them are separate, and some, like a monster, starts rampaging through the town, and so they don't know each other, but they're just all the ones that decided to stay and help, and that's how they could know each other. But in this case, they start in a tavern. They all just kind of get to know each other. They play around with each other a little bit. Then they're all going to this carnival, and then we actually spent a fair amount of time like watching the carnival with them before things kind of take a turn, and so that makes me just think that at least there's a possibility that this carnival might be sort of the party's base of operations or something for a while. We'll see. But certainly, they've gotten it started, and one of the things that's kind of neat about an adventure like this one with such a huge following is just tons of people doing fan art. So just like even this morning, after the premiere of the characters, there's lots of people already making fan art of the characters and talking about who's their favorite and all that sort of thing, and that's a lot of fun to kind of observe. And I'm not participating in the sense that I'm not good at drawing, but I'm talking about it here. And so in any event, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I got to sleep in a little bit. Luna's continuing to improve. I posted an update on the GoFundMe last night about that. We're still in a little bit of a situation where she kind of feels like she needs to pee every 3, 4 hours. And she can hold it much longer than that and frequently does, but if she's bored, as soon as she needs to go a little bit, she starts whining at me. And so sometimes that means we're getting up 2, 3 times a night, and that's frustrating. So hopefully we're going to try to ease back into the normal routine, but it's been a little tricky, especially since just when I have to go to work and be away for that long, it's tricky, but we're working on it. So anyway, that's where we're at right now, and so I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.